very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's a beautiful night that we're going to spend together right here on BRTV channel 102 on your choice decoder TSTV. We're so delighted to have you tonight on the show. And as usual, this is where we discuss people, economy, politics, and governance. And for the big story tonight, we have a report that INEC's final list has been released by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The general election will be conducted for presidential, national, and state constituencies as well as the governorship. But the list covered only the federal positions. We'll bring you all of these on the big story. Let me quickly welcome the former aide to President Muhammadu Buhari, talking about Chief Okoi, Obono, Obla. It's my pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you. Nice to see you again.
You look more refreshed, like you had a lot of vegetable soup in Cross River.
You know, the part of the country we come from, we eat very good food, as you said, vegetables. So I ate a lot of afang, idika kong, and so forth and so on.
And then the festival.
Yes, and the festival.
The yam festival.
Sure. So we have new yams now. And, so we have been enjoying a lot of pounded yam.
Okay, we'll come back for Chief Okoi Obono Obla on the show. Stay with us. Thank you and welcome back to the show. This is where we go straight to the big story and, of course, the analysis. Let's remind you that the general elections will be conducted for presidential, national, and state constituencies as well as the governorship. But the 2023 INEC list is probably covering only the federal positions. So we bring you this big story from the Guardian report, which we've just told you. We have Chief Okoi Obono Obla do justice to this big story by letting us have some insight, like the case of Ebonyi, where we have Anne Egwom. She's gone for, she's still expecting, perhaps awaiting appeal court judgment, even though at the moment the governor of Ebonyi State is said to have met the list. We also have the likes of Governor Akpabio of Akwa Ibom. They also made the list. Let's take a critical analysis of the INEC 23 list. It seems to be that INEC is right on point, if you ask me.
Why not? It's in conformity with the provisions of Section 29, sub 1 of the Electoral Act 2022. Yeah. That law says that, or the provision says that, the political parties, they are obligated to forward a list of their candidates and their personal particulars, not later than 180 days to the dates where when notice of the election was issued. Okay. And then they have to forward it to INEC. So, like, it's an obligation that has to be, done. Yeah. So that is what INEC has done. And where a political party, doesn't comply with the request of INEC, then INEC is right to publish the final list without that, candidates for that political party. You remember, INEC asks parties upload. Okay, so to upload their candidate. Exactly, upload all the names and personal particulars of your candidates to INEC server. Okay. Yes. So if where a political party defaults in forwarding the names and personal particulars of the candidate, then INEC can exclude that candidate's name or the political party's candidates. Okay. And we have heard a lot of stories about candidates not finding their names. Okay. There's a particular one in my federal constituency. His name is completely not there. So okay, let's take a look at that critically to say the primary election was held. Yes. And the party went home and everybody perhaps announced the name of the winner. Yes, but at the time. You saw, the law, the Electoral Act empowers INEC to refuse to accept a list or containing candidates who did not emerge through a validly conducted primary election.
What makes a validly conducted election when you have INEC supervise the
No, because if you are supervising, that means you are a conductor.
Okay.
INEC is not a conductor. INEC is to monitor, to ensure that all the the guidelines of that political party, the guidelines of INEC, and the provisions of the Electoral Act are complied with by a political party. Okay. Yes.
Okay, let's also take a look at some of the issues one might be talking about, like the issues that are still in court.
Yes.
Where you still have a candidate has to pursue the matter up to the appeal court.
Yeah, but that wouldn't stop.
And then the INEC has already issued the
that wouldn't stop INEC from carrying out its mandate as provided by the law. Okay, except there is a court injunction saying, look, don't accept any list from in respect of a particular candidate, then INEC is bound to comply. But if there is no order, INEC is duty bound to carry out what the law says. Because if the INEC doesn't do that, then the whole election, the conduct of the election will be affected, and we may end up not having an election in the country. I know that will result in a constitutional crisis in the country. Oh. So INEC has not done anything. As long as the matter is in court, yes, fine. The court eventually will deliver a judgment. If the court delivers a judgment and says candidate B, whose name was submitted to us or to INEC, is not the right candidate, then INEC is bound to comply with that order and remove the name of that particular person and substitute that name with the person who went to court and won.
That seems to be like putting the cart before the horse.
Well,
that drags down our...
There is a provision in the Electoral Act that says an injunction cannot restrain INEC from conducting the election, or even to restrain a political party from conducting its nomination processes. So that is clearly in the Electoral Act.
Okay, at what point do we now brainstorming to say the party chairman had uploaded the names of a supposed candidate A, and then you have a point like in Akwa Ibom where it all happened, we all saw it clearly.
Even in Cross River, as I said, a candidate from my federal constituency, his name was not there. And it may be that the political party didn't do the right thing.
Okay.
Yes. So that because I remember I read in the media about 1 month ago, political party, INEC was calling on political parties to comply with its request that upload the names of their candidate to our server. Okay. So if when a political party neglects to do that, then you don't blame INEC, okay? Because clearly the political party has a responsibility. A lot of places on the political party, the body, the responsibility of doing that, carrying out that exercise.
So are we not supposed to conclude all of these pre-election matters before a list is finally
No. If you say,
and what does the law say about all of this? Because it looks like the law is blind to certain irregularities.
The law cannot capture all circumstances. Okay, if there is a gap through the implementation of the law, okay, like if they see a gap, then the National Assembly has to amend that law in the next election that is coming up in 2007. Okay. So, but for now, this law is a new law. We have to test it. We have to see judgments from the court concerning the law, so that if there's any gap, the next National Assembly will take care of that and amend the law. But I have not seen anything wrong. As I said, if you say all pre-election matters should be concluded before we have election, then we may end up not having an election. You cannot, INEC cannot control, how the cases are held, except there is a law saying that a pre-election matter must not last more than 2 months. But there's a law now saying that we're not giving, the court 180 days to hear all pre-election matters. So within 180 days, that's about 6 months. It's enough time for the court to give expeditious hearing, to all these cases, pre-election matters. But I can assure you that that will take us to election, proper.
Okay, in case you've just joined us, we're speaking with Chief Okoi Obono Obla, and we are taking a look at the 2023 INEC's final list of gubernatorial and Federal House of National Assembly candidates of each of the political parties. Laws of the land, the fact that my friends abroad have to send money to support me.
By now, they can afford to pay the few individuals coming out to vote, and then by that simple majority they've won, and that's not necessary.
Thank you and welcome back. In case you've just joined us, this is your evening tonic, talking about the Nigeria Watch, where we discuss people, economy, politics, and governance. We have Chief Okoi Obono Obla, a lawyer and a former aide to President Muhammadu Buhari. He is in the building where we talk about the 2023 general elections, INEC's final list, and of course more on the issue. And Chief Okoi, one would have expected the PDP to have been a stronger opposition, but it seems the Labour Party is taking the shine. How is all of these beneficial to other political parties, especially the ruling All Progressives Congress? Look at what is happening in the People's Democratic Party. One would have expected a unified team to match all of this. Who is against the PDP? Is it APC or the Labour Party?
PDP is fractured beyond repairs, because in the first place they shot themselves by not complying with their constitution, particularly the provisions of their constitution that says power shift, power rotation between north and south.
Okay.
Article merely used his connections, his money power, and so forth and so on. Desperation to snatch the ticket. We should have a southern candidate.
When you say snatch, he actually contested and stood at the primary.
Well, he did. But I expect him as a statesman. He has been the vice president of this country for 8 years. He is one of the founders of PDP. I expect him to show statesmanship, patriotism, even though he is very strong in PDP for obvious reasons. Are you saying he should have backed down? Exactly. Exactly.
But we know that political position is not a meat pie.
It is not a meat pie. Yeah. It is not a meat pie. Yeah. That is why sometimes in politics you have to concede, even though if you are stronger than the other candidate or the other party. I expect Atiku to concede to the South, okay? Because he was part of the drafters of the PDP constitution, who in 1999 who appreciate the fact that in our level of political evolution, you know all these things about rotation, power shift, and so forth and so on, where somebody comes from will come into play. But I believe maybe in the next 50 years, when the country democracy matures, nobody will talk about where somebody comes from. So based on that principle, I expect him to concede, to the South. He didn't do that. He muzzled his way. He caused Tambuwala to step down for him, and because of that, he defeated Wike. And then Wike is bitter. He has been financing this party.
But one expected Wike to also concede, like you said, for the peace and stability of the party going to the war.
Atiku should have conceded, to at least in answer to the agitation of the people
of the South.
Okay. And the governors from southern Nigeria bet and said, look, they are not going to compromise on power shifts to the South. So I expect Atiku to do the same, concede. You know, APC has conceded.
And he should have supported Wike.
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes. And to have sort to injury, Dr. Iyoshe Ayu, the national chairman, he taught me University of Jos. You know, in those days his classes used to be, you know, a center of attraction because he was a Marxian. Yeah, and this was in the late 80s, you know, during the period of liberation struggle in Africa. So we students also were more inclined to, you know, people who talk about freedom, you know, from oppression and so forth and so on. So it used his mouth to say that, look, if Atiku emerges, who is from the northern part of the country,
that he's going to step down.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is what Wike is saying.
And this is what Wike is holding against.
Exactly. And Atiku is supporting it. He's supporting. Ayu says he will not. And then Atiku now is saying that it's a personal decision. What nonsense.
Nobody can force.
Exactly. So that means they are in, you know, cahoots with each other. And I heard Governor David Jan, former Governor David Jan of Plateau State, saying this, how, you know, Ayu embrace, you know, yes, that means that they were working together. So that is why the people, some people in the PDP are very angry, and it's not only people from the southern Nigeria. Some people from northern Nigeria too, like David Jan.
So let's say that your party, the All Progressives Congress, they are openly waiting for Wike's group.
We are going to take advantage, you know, and hit PDP with a sledgehammer because they are already in confusion, and we don't expect a party that is in confusion to take over government from us. It's not going to work. They have not put their house in order, and we are going to deal with them seriously. And we are happy that this thing is happening because they are not honest people. They are not honest people. They don't mean well for this country.
What do you mean by honest? You also have people in APC who are not also honest.
Well,
you cannot conclude that they are not honest.
They are not honest. And you just allow me to lie.
Go ahead.
If you have a constitution,
yes,
the constitution is what regulates the conduct of a political party. You have rules, and then suddenly you don't want to obey the rules. That is dishonesty of the highest degree. But why would they comply with it?
Talking about honesty, one would have also expected the All Progressives Congress to have honestly allowed the people of the Southeast to have a bite of the ticket of the All Progressives Congress. You had the Governor Rochas Okorocha, you have the former Minister of Education, who was also in the primary. But
I am one of the writers of the APC Constitution.
Okay.
Okay, I was the secretary of the committee that did the final draft, and Amade was to produce a clean copy. The chairman of the committee was Barrister James Osholi, SAN, of blessed memory. He was the Minister of State Labour, and I was the secretary. In the APC Constitution, there is no provision for rotation between North and South. Okay?
But by gentleman arrangement.
But by gentleman arrangement, we all agreed when President Buhari was contesting in 2015 that the presidency or the ticket should go to the north. So based on that, they considered the ticket to the south. There is no provision for micro-zoning to north, south, west, south, and southeast. Okay? So you don't blame APC. The southeast simply failed to put its house in order, okay, because there was no micro-zoning. If there was micro-zoning, fine, but there's nothing like that, because we have to follow the precedent that was laid in 2015. There was no micro-zoning to north central, to northwest, or northeast. So you can't blame that on the APC. I expect them to put their house in order, maybe step down and allow one person to confront Bola Tinubu.
And we just brought you a report, Chief Okoi Obla, before we talk about APC in 60 seconds. At a certain time, we heard that Akpabio's name was amiss, and he just met the list. It looks more like a miracle, if you ask me. How did that happen? Is it the same process you were trying to explain?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, I think he went to court.
Oh.
Yes, and I think that the ruling was given last week that they should be included in the list. Yeah. Yes, maybe that is why. Yes, but that is not the end of the matter. Okay. I believe that the other side must have gone on appeal.
Okay, they must have gone on appeal.
So and the Court of Appeal is not the final say. You can go to the Supreme Court. I mean, so that is, we are yet to see the end of that, scenario.
Okay, let's quickly tidy things up with what happened in PDP.
Yes.
Is it that your candidate, talking about Bola Tinubu of the All Progressives Congress?
Yes.
Someone said that his fingers is pointed at what is happening in PDP.
Well, I don't think so. I told you that they shot themselves because they are not being honest about their rotational arrangement.
Don't also forget that Wike had a meeting with your party candidate in London.
Why not?
A couple of months ago.
Why not? It's smart politics. I know Bola Tinubu is very smart. He's a very smart politician. I have a lot of respect for him. And you can see among all the candidates, I think he's one of the most experienced. And he is also an activist. You know, he fought for the Nigerian democracy. He was part of NEDECO that challenged Abacha. And thereafter he came back from exile. He was forced to go on exile, and he came back, and then he struggled, and he became the governor of Lagos State. He had a lot of people who contenders, and the AC, the Alliance of Democracy, was not a tea party. It was a party that was made up of very experienced politicians, as people like Papa Adebanjo, is it Adebanjo? Adebanjo, yeah. So that time they were still alive, Abraham Adesanya and all that, and he was supposed to get the ticket to run under Alliance for Democracy. And then when Obasanjo made an incursion, he went to make an incursion to the southwest because people were teasing him. Okay, you are from the southwest, and the southwest did not support your presidential bid. So in his second time of contesting the presidential election in 2003, he made an onslaught like a general he is. He made an onslaught, incursion, and he was able to weaken Alliance of Democracy. All the governors lost except Bola Tinubu. So you give it to him. He was able to contain Obasanjo's onslaught, and he emerged as governor of Lagos State from 2003 to 2007.
But everybody's thought that the Kashim Shettima all-Muslim ticket
I've told you
would have ended, he would have listened to the outcry.
Yeah, well, I don't believe in Muslim, because if
we were surprised to see Kashim's name, because we thought with the outcry, Bola Tinubu would have had a change of heart.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that I don't believe in Muslim thing. It's all propaganda. We should be blind to where somebody, the type of God he worships. So I've said that with that number. But Bola Tinubu has been able to, connect the entire country, build bridges, alliances with political stakeholders, political gladiators in all the regions of the country, even the southeast. He's there. You heard what Senator Ojikalo was saying,
But he's also being lambasted by the Southeast people.
They are just not making is different from really being realistic. Okay, the dynamics of today favors political dynamics, favors Bola Tinubu, because over the years he has built alliances, bridges across the country, and that is what Obi is lacking. Okay,
we'll talk about a bit of it on another program, all the same. But we want to say a very big thank you, Chief Okoi Obla, for your time. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
We're looking forward to seeing you on the program. That's the size of the program tonight. But just before we call it a quit, let's see if we can give you a recap of the newspaper headlines. We brought you a report from the Punch earlier that nobody can force IU to resign, says presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. And in a Boeing senatorial ticket, I await appeal court judgment. Omai's challenger boasts. IU's resignation, Southwest Forum backs Wike, Makinde, others. We'll meet to deliberate in court will meet to deliberate on court ruling, ASU rather, and the federal government to leave behind 60.9 trillion debt other liabilities in 2023. And of course, Akpabio makes a list of candidates for the 2023 election. Lawan loses out as Akpabio Umahi make INEC's final list. 2023, INEC releases a final list of candidates. Thank you so much, my production assistant, Abayomi Abomire. And of course, all the great guys in the studio tonight. I want to really appreciate you. All the engineers and, in fact, all the staff of the BRTV, TSTV. I want to say a very big thank you. Thank you once again, Okoi, Obono, Obla, for your time.
Thank you so much.
And Fidel Oyeneke for your consistent effort at being here. And to all our listeners, get your TSTV decoder to get all of phones, news, and entertainment. My name is Abasi Odu Idion. You can follow me on your social media space at Apso Baba. Let's do this again tomorrow, God willing. Good night.